All right, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time it is, wherever in this world it is that you are. Welcome once more to another live stream of Alexandra Mayers Live, page by page reading and commentary of the modern English version of the Bible. I already did one Bible reading today, but I have the time and I have the interest, and I've been meaning to do two live readings a day for a long time. So I guess today's the first day that we're going to do two readings. And this is a pretty interesting book of the Bible, the second book of Samuel. So we might as well start within this book. All right, so now we're going to get into Absalom's conspiracy. This should be pretty interesting, a conspiracy. After this, Absalom acquired for himself a chariot, horses, and 50 men to run before him. Absalom would go early and stand beside the way into the gate. When any man who had a dispute concerning which he had come to a king, when any man who had a dispute concerning which he had come to the king for a judgment approached, Absalom would call to him and say, "Which city are you from?" And he would say, "Your servant is from one of the tribes of Israel." Then Absalom would say to him, "Look, your claim is good and right, but there is no one to hear you on behalf of the king." Absalom would continue, "If I were appointed a judge in the land, then every man who had a claim could come, and I would give him justice. When a man would approach to bow before him, he would reach out, embrace him, and kiss him." Absalom acted this way toward every Israelite who came to the king for a judgment. So Absalom stole the hearts of the men of Israel. And it probably helped that Absalom was said to be um, one of the best looking men within Israel. That was discussed in the previous chapter. Just one moment. Had to sneeze there. All right, let's continue. After 40 years, Absalom said to the king, "Please allow me to go fulfill my vow that I made to the Lord in Hebron. For your servant made a vow when I was dwelling in Geshur in Aram, saying, 'If indeed the Lord will bring me back to Jerusalem, then I will serve the Lord.' The king said to him, 'Go in peace.' So he arose and went to Hebron. But Absalom sent scouts throughout all the tribes of Israel, saying, 'When you hear the sound of the horn, say, Absalom has become king in Hebron.' Now 200 men went with Absalom from Jerusalem, invited and unsuspecting. They did not know anything. Absalom sent for Ahithophel, the Gilonite, the advisor of David, from his city of Gilo, while he was offering the sacrifices. Now the conspiracy was strong, for the number of people with Absalom was continually growing. This is interesting. David flees Jerusalem. A messenger came to David and said, "The hearts of the men of Israel are following Absalom." David said to all of his servants who were with him in Jerusalem, "Get up, we must flee, or there will be no escape from Absalom for us. Hurry up and leave, or he will soon reach us and bring disaster upon us, striking the city with the edge of the sword." The king's servant said to, the king's servants said to the king, "Behold, your servants are ready to do whatever our lord the king decides." So the king left with his entire house after him, But he left behind 10 women, concubines, to watch over the house. So the king left with all of the people after him, and they came to a stop at the furthest house. Now all his servants passed on beside him, all the Kerethites, all the Pelethites, and all the Gittites. 600 men who had followed him from Gath passed on before the king. The king said to Ittai the Gittite, "Why are you also going with us? Go back and dwell with the king, for you are a foreigner, and moreover exiled from your own place. You came only yesterday. Shall I cause you to go roaming around with us today? I am going where I go. Go back and take back your brothers with you. Mercy and truth be with you." Ittai answered the king and said, "As the Lord lives, as my lord the king, only in the place where my lord the king is, whether for death or for life, there alone will your servant be." So David said to Ittai, "Go on, pass by." So Ittai the Gittite passed by, along with all of his men and all of the children and elderly who were with him. The whole land wept with a loud voice as all the people passed by. Now the king was crossing over the brook Kidron, and all the people were crossing over on the road to the wilderness. And Abiathar came up, and behold, Zadok also came, and all the Levites with him, bearing the ark of the covenant of God. And they set down the ark of God until all the people have finished passing out of the city. The king said to Zadok, "Take the ark of God back to the city. If I have found favor in the eyes of the Lord, he will bring me back and allow me to see both it and its resting place. But if he should say now, 'Behold, I take no delight in you,' here I am. Let him do to me what seems good to him." The king also said to Zadok the priest, "Are you not a seer? Return to the city in peace with your two sons, your son Ahimaaz and Jonathan, the son of Abiathar. I will wait at the fords of the wilderness until the word from you comes to inform me." So Zadok and Abiathar returned the ark of God to Jerusalem, and they remained there. David went up the ascent of the Mount of Olives, weeping as he went. His head was covered, and he went barefoot. Then all of the people who were with him covered his head and went up, weeping as they went. Now it was reported to David that Ahithophel was conspiring with Absalom. And David said, "O Lord, make the advice of Ahithophel folly." When David came to the summit where he would worship God, behold, Hushai the Archite approached him with his coat torn and dirt on his head. David said to him, "If you pass on with me, you will be a burden to me. But if you return to the city, you may say to Absalom, 'I am your servant, O king, as I was servant of your father. As I was then, so now I am your servant.' So as to counter the advice of Ahithophel, will not Zadok and Abiathar, the priests, be with you there? You shall report everything that you hear from the king's house to Zadok and Abiathar, the priest. Behold, their two sons, Ahimaaz, the son of Zadok, and Jonathan, the son of Abiathar, will be there with them. You shall send word of everything that you hear to me by their hand. So Hushai, the friend of David, came to the city as Absalom entered Jerusalem. What I think is really interesting about this particular chapter is that David directly asks God for help. And I think that a lot of us have to remember sometimes that we can ask God directly for help when we're in trouble, when we're facing life's battles. I understand that there's some people who are Christians who feel that you need to ask Jesus for help. And Jesus, I suppose, is seen as the intermediary between God and man. I personally don't feel that way. After I conclude this live stream tonight, I'm going to have a direct conversation with the Christian God, my God, about a few things. And I've always thought that way, really. There was a time in my life when I was younger when I was taught to pray to Jesus, and sometimes I still talk to Jesus. I definitely believe in Jesus, but I don't feel like there needs to be a middleman at all. So, everyone have a good night. I'm glad I was able to get 2 Bible readings in today. Feels good. I'm going to try my best to do this at least 6 times a week. If I'm lucky, 7 times a week, but my spiritual studies are definitely taking a very strong hold in my life. Deep roots are starting to grow from me spiritually. And I feel good about that. So everyone take care. And today's the day, I'm sorry, tomorrow is the day that the interstellar object, 3I Atlas, will be closest to Earth. And over on the community post tab, there's a pretty interesting video commentary in regards to that some of you may want to watch. Anyway, take care. Have a great night. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.